Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this month's meeting of the Community and Sport Committee for the 13th of August 2024. Just noting that all committee members are in attendance other than Deputy Mayor Jonick, who is travelling this morning, representing the RDA. As such, I'd like to move a leave of absence for Deputy Mayor Jonick, seconded by Councillor Antonelli. Any discussion? I'll put it to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Other than that, we'll proceed to the acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land and waters we share. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, customs, cultures and stories of proud people. Do any committee members this morning have a declaration of interest to make on matters on the agenda? There being no declarations or business outstanding, I'll proceed to the confirmation of minutes. Would any member of the committee like to move those? Moved by Councillor Antonelli, seconded by Councillor Augustine. Any discussion on those minutes this morning? There being no discussion, I'll proceed to the vote. Those in favour of adopting? That's unanimous and carried. Item 2 today is the officers' report for the Redbank Plains and Riverview and District Community Centre facility activations. Are there any questions of the relevant officers on this? Yes, Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
I'll see if anyone's... Yep.
Good afternoon, Tanya Appleton, Community Development.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms Appleton, for being here. Obviously, this is, thank you for this report. It's really great to see the activities here. I know that some community centres get state funding and these two don't. Do you mind explaining why that happens?
So the community centres that get state funded are the neighbourhood houses and where Ipswich City Council facility, which doesn't include state funding. So we've got 4 neighbourhood houses in Ipswich region that have state funding and do ER support, and our centres currently don't.
Okay. How did you find, obviously we had arrangements change at both locations. How did you go about programming and working out what was best for the community?
Yep. So what we did initially was we looked at the demographics of the community, like what is the community made up of, who are in that community. We also talked to services to see what's currently active in the community, so what services are engaging with community members, and we also talked to leaders and significant members of the Riverview or Redbank Plains area to find out what is needed in those communities as well. And we keep in continual contact with them throughout the time we're at the community centres.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms Appleton. I really appreciate you. You've activated it very quickly, and so thank you very much for your work there. Thank you, Chair.
Any further questions this morning? Nope. Councillor Augustine.
Hi. Hello, Ms Appleton. Redbank Plains Community Centre. We've had some long-standing volunteers who use the volunteer system as for their Centrelink because they're unable to fulfil full-time employment. So can you just tell us what you see happening with those?
Yeah, so currently all our volunteers aren't under the Work for the Dole program. They're all just volunteers, so they just want to contribute their time to the community centre. All the previous Work for the Dole volunteers have actually found other areas that we've helped them, supported them with, that are more of their interests.
And there was a couple of, I think there's one that's community-led on the Redbank Plains that was sort of centred around the volunteers. How do you see that one working? I think there's only one on here.
Would it be Project Nourish?
Where is it? Project Nourish. Sorry, I can't see it. No, the Morning Tea, community-led. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So the morning tea is actually run by community, it's not run by volunteers. So what we do is we just open the facility for any members of the community to come together, share a plate of food and just have a chat. So we don't have volunteers that run it, but we do have volunteers that are definitely part of it and love being part of it as well.
Because they provide the morning tea, don't they? So
Yes.
it's a, as you said, community-led, but they have to sort of work together for that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we've got
so-
about 6 members that are every Monday, no matter what, they come and they all bring a sandwich, and they actually have developed their own Facebook site, which is fantastic, about
Yes.
the community morning tea to try to build
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, that's all my questions.
Thank you.
Any further questions this morning? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, I'll seek a mover for the one recommendation for this report, moved by Councillor Augustine, seconded by Councillor Antonelli. Any discussion this morning?
If I may, Chair. I think it's been really great how everyone's come together to activate these two really important community centres. And I do note too that post-flood, the gym that was in Goodna on the edge of Evan Marginson Park, I think it's going to be turned into some type of community facility as well. So I think it's really good to see what's happening here, what works. So I think it's really important for us to be flexible as a council and make sure that the community get the maximum benefit from these facilities.
Through the chair.
Yep.
Through the chair. It was disappointing at first that Multicultural Australia decided to vacate, but our staff need to be congratulated how they've activated the space. Redbank Plains is a demographic of our city that really needs to be a little bit of extra love and care, and thank you for making sure that those facilities and those services are at hand for them, so thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Augustine. Any further discussion this morning? Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Chair. If I may, through you, I'd also like to commend the staff, in particular their work on the Riverview and District Community Centre, which is within Division 3, and like Redbank Plains, we have wide variety of needs, and the staff have worked so hard to activate the centre, and I'm really delighted by some of the providers that are in there. They will really make a difference in our community there. So thank you to the staff.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Any further discussion this morning? There being no further discussion, I'll proceed to the vote. Those in favour of adopting, that's unanimous and carried. Next items are notices of motion. Do any committee members have a notice of motion to provide? I've misplaced my Word document where I drafted 2 notices of motion. For the next Community and Sport Committee, I'll be submitting 2 notices of motion. One, that an advisory group be established for sports facilities in Ipswich and our planning of those sports facilities. And a second one, that an advisory group be established for libraries in Ipswich. The purpose of both of those notices of motion will be to have advisory groups up off the ground to provide an avenue for councillors to work with the council organisation in the community to get our strategies and long-term plans agreed to before our next corporate plan needs to be adopted 2 years from now. I'll proceed further. Any matters arising? No. No procedural motions or formal matters that I'm aware of. So I'll declare the meeting closed at 12:51 p.m. with the next meeting to commence at 1:01.